6 months after I caught my fiancée in bed with my younger brother, she showed up at my apartment pregnant and crying. She said the baby was mine. She said she had nowhere else to go. She said she needed me. And maybe the old version of me would have opened the door, let her sit down, made tea, listened to her cry, and tried to fix the mess she made. But that version of me died on Christmas Day. That was the day my parents defended my brother, my sisters told me I was ruining dinner, and my whole family decided that betrayal was only a problem because I refused to stay quiet about it. So when Iris stood at my door with one hand on her stomach and tears in her eyes, I did not ask if she was okay. I did not invite her in. I did not comfort her. I looked at her stomach, then at her face, and said the only thing that mattered. Prove it. My name is Ethan Carter. I was 32 when this happened. At the time, I worked as a logistics operations manager for a regional supply chain company. Not a glamorous job, but I was good at it. I handled timelines, budgets, vendors, route failures, warehouse delays, and people who thought saying urgent magically solved bad planning. I liked order. I liked facts. I liked knowing what was real. That mattered later. My fiancée was Iris. We had been together for 3 years and engaged for almost 1. The wedding was supposed to be in September. Venue booked. Invitations ordered. Deposit paid. Her Pinterest boards were terrifyingly organized. She had opinions about table linens that I still believe no human being should have to form. But I loved her. Or I loved the person I thought she was. My younger brother was Preston. 28. Charming when he needed something. Careless when he already had it. He had spent most of his life being the family's emergency. Missed rent, job drama, girlfriend problems, car trouble, bad decisions dressed up as bad luck. And my parents always made excuses. Preston was finding himself. Preston was under pressure. Preston just needed support. I had been hearing some version of that since he was 14 and crashed my dad's truck into a mailbox because he got distracted. By 32, I should have known better. But family does that to you. It keeps handing you old roles and waiting for you to keep playing them. I was the responsible one. Preston was the one everyone rescued. That was the system. Until I stopped participating. It started 3 days before Christmas. My company gave us half days that week. It was one of those rare December afternoons where everything slowed down at once. Vendors were out. Clients were pretending they were not checking email. My boss told us to go home before lunch and enjoy the holidays. I decided to surprise Iris. We had both been stressed. Wedding planning had turned into a part-time job neither of us was getting paid for. She had been distant for a few weeks, but I blamed stress. People get weird around weddings. Families start acting like seating charts or United Nations negotiations. Everyone has opinions. Everyone thinks their opinion is spiritual truth. So I picked up Thai food from the place she liked and drove home. I remember feeling good. That is the part that still annoys me. I was in a good mood. I parked outside our apartment, grabbed the food, and let myself in quietly because I wanted to surprise her. There were shoes by the door. Men's shoes. Not mine. I stood there for a second, holding a bag of pad thai and spring rolls, and stared at them like my brain needed extra time to translate what eyes already understood. Then I heard something from the bedroom. Not a conversation. Not the TV. Something else. I walked down the hallway. Our bedroom door was half open. And there they were, Iris and Preston. My fiancé and my brother. In my bed. Not drunk. Not confused. Not caught in some tragic misunderstanding. Middle of a Tuesday afternoon. Sober. Deliberate. Comfortable. The look on their faces when they saw me was not guilt. That is the detail that stayed with me. It was irritation. Like I had interrupted something private. Something they felt entitled to. Iris pulled the sheet up. Preston froze for half a second, then actually had the nerve to say my name like he was surprised I existed. Ethan. I stood there for maybe 10 seconds. 10 seconds is longer than people think. Long enough to understand that your future just died. Long enough to see your brother's clothes on the floor. Long enough to notice that Iris was wearing the necklace I bought her for our anniversary. Long enough to realize there are moments in life where screaming would only make you look smaller than what happened to you. So I did not scream. I did not throw the food. I did not hit Preston, even though part of me wanted to break every bone in his face and call it family therapy. I turned around, walked to the living room, grabbed my laptop bag and keys, and left. Iris came after me, calling my name while trying to put clothes on. Ethan, wait. Please. It's not what you think. That line should be illegal. Because it is always exactly what you think. I got in my car and drove to a hotel. For 2 days. I did not answer my phone. Iris called. Preston called. My mother called. My father called. My sisters called. I let every call go unanswered. At first, I thought maybe my family would take my side. That sounds stupid now, but betrayal makes you cling to basic assumptions. You think, surely there is a line. Surely your own parents will understand that your brother sleeping with your fiancée in your bed is not a gray area. I thought Christmas might be the moment they showed me who they were. It was. Just not the way I hoped. My mother called on Christmas Eve from a blocked number because I had already stopped answering hers. Ethan, honey, she said, in that soft voice she used when she wanted to make something sound less ugly than it was. We still expect you tomorrow. I laughed once. You're joking. It's Christmas. Preston slept with Iris. There was a pause. I know something happened. Something happened? Your brother told us there was a mistake. A mistake. Like he had spilled wine on a rug. Like he had forgotten to bring dessert. Like his pants had accidentally fallen off in my bedroom and Iris had somehow tripped into the situation. I'm not coming if he's there, I said. My mother sighed. Not cried. Not apologized. Sighed. Ethan, please don't do this. Don't do what? Make Christmas about this. I should have hung up right there, but I still had one foot inside the family I thought I had. So I went. That was my mistake. Christmas at my parents' house looked exactly like every Christmas before it. Same wreath on the door. Same overcooked ham. Same holiday candles my mother insisted smelled like winter berries even though they smelled like a perfume counter caught fire. My father opened the door. He hugged me like nothing had changed. Glad you came, son. I stepped inside. Preston was already there, sitting at the dining table with a beer in his hand, laughing at something my younger sister said. Comfortable, not hiding. Not ashamed. My mother had made his favorite sweet potato casserole. My older sister, Lauren, was showing him pictures of her kids. My younger sister, Megan, was asking him about his new job. Normal. Easy. Like I was the problem entering the room. Iris was not there. That was the only mercy. I lasted about 40 minutes. I made it through appetizers. Barely. Every time Preston laughed, something in my chest tightened. Every time my mother asked him if he wanted more food, I felt like I was watching a trial where the criminal had been invited to sit with the jury. Then my mother brought up the wedding. She said it casually, while passing bread. So, have you and Iris worked things out yet? The table went quiet. I put my fork down. No. We're done. My father sighed. He actually sighed. You're really going to throw away 2 years over one mistake? I looked at Preston. He stared at his plate. One mistake, I said. My mother's mouth tightened. He's going through a hard time. I laughed. I could not help it. He slept with my fiancée in my bed. Do you have to be so crude? Lauren said. I turned to her. Crude? We're trying to have a nice dinner. Megan rolled her eyes. You're kind of making this about you. I stared at her. Making what about me? The holidays. She said. Family time. You're ruining it by being angry. That was when something inside me clicked into place. Not broke. Not shattered. Clicked. Like a lock closing. I looked around the table. My mother, uncomfortable because I would not perform forgiveness. My father, disappointed because I was not making his life easier. My sisters, annoyed because my pain was bad for the holiday mood. Preston, silent because silence had always worked for him. I stood up. My father used his reasonable voice. Ethan, sit down. Let's talk about this like adults. We're not talking about anything, I said. You already decided whose side you're on. Preston finally spoke. Come on, man, don't be like this. I looked at him, really looked at him. My little brother. The kid I had helped with homework. The teenager I had covered for when he snuck out. The grown man I had lent money to more times than I could count. And he sat there in my parents' house, eating Christmas dinner, while everyone expected me to treat his betrayal like an awkward family misunderstanding. No, I said, I'm done being like this. I walked out before dessert. By midnight, every number was blocked. I returned the engagement ring to Iris through a courier. No note. No speech. Just the ring in a box with her name on it. I moved out of our apartment within a week. Technically, both our names were on the lease, but I paid the fee to break my part, took what belonged to me, and left the rest. I did not fight over furniture. I did not fight over dishes. I did not fight over the bed, because I would have rather slept on the floor for the rest of my life than touch that thing again. I found a smaller apartment across town. Month-to-month lease. Second floor. Bad parking, thin walls. Ugly carpet. Mine, I told my boss I needed to work remotely for a while. He did not ask many questions. Good managers know when a person is one wrong sentence away from quitting the entire planet. The first month was hell. I am not going to pretend I became some stoic legend overnight. I could not sleep. Could not eat. Lost 15 pounds in 5 weeks. I worked 16-hour days because exhaustion was easier than thinking. I went running at midnight because my apartment felt too quiet. I deleted photos until my phone looked like I had never had a life before December. The second month was not much better. But by the third month, something changed. Not healing exactly. More like scar tissue. I joined a gym. Started lifting again. Started running in the mornings instead of at midnight like a man being chased by his own brain. Picked up woodworking because I needed something to do with my hands besides checking old messages I had already blocked. I built a crooked bookshelf. Then a better one. Then a coffee table that only wobbled if you judged it. By month 6, I was not happy exactly. But I was stable. And after what they did, stable felt like luxury. My routine was simple. Work, gym, dinner, one episode of whatever show required the least emotional investment. Sleep. No family group chat. No wedding planning. No Iris. No Preston. No one asking me to be the bigger person when what they really meant was, please be quiet so smaller people can escape consequences. Then last Tuesday happened. I got home around 7. Heated up leftovers. Poured a drink. Turned on the game. I had just sat down when someone knocked on my door. I was not expecting anyone. I had not ordered food. My neighbors were not the friendly type, which was one of their finest qualities. I checked the peephole. Iris stood in the hallway. Pregnant. Very pregnant. 5 or 6 months, maybe. She wore one of those loose maternity tops and had her hair pulled back. No makeup. Red eyes. One hand resting on her stomach like she was posing for sympathy. I did not open the door immediately. I just watched. She wiped under her eyes. No mascara running because she was not wearing any. Smart. Makes the tears look more honest. She knocked again. Ethan. She said. Please. I know you're home. I saw your car. I opened the door. But I did not step aside. I did not invite her in. I stood in the doorway with my arms crossed. What do you want? Her lip trembled. She was always good at small expressions. Tiny emotional details. The little wounded look. The half-broken whisper. The kind of performance that makes people want to rescue you before they ask whether you set the fire yourself. Can I come in? She asked. Just for a minute? No. She blinked. She had not expected that. I need to talk to you. So talk. She glanced down the hallway. Another calculated move. Like she was worried the neighbors would hear. I did not move. She took a breath. I made a terrible mistake. You made several, I said. Pick one. Her face tightened for half a second. Then the wounded look came back. What happened with Preston? It wasn't what you think. I almost closed the door right there. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. She continued. I was vulnerable. We had been fighting. You were stressed. I was overwhelmed with the wedding. Preston was there. And he listened. And he made me feel like someone understood. He took advantage of that. I stared at her. He manipulated the situation, she said. I know that doesn't excuse it. But I need you to understand I never wanted to hurt you. I said nothing. Silence makes liars work harder. She placed her hand on her stomach. The baby is yours. There it was. The line she had come to deliver. I looked at her stomach. Then at her face. Prove it. She looked genuinely startled. What? Prove the baby is mine. I just told you. You told me a story. I want proof. Her eyes widened. You don't trust me? No. That word sat between us like a brick. She tried another angle. Do you know how expensive prenatal paternity tests are? I can't afford. I'll pay for it. I said. Non-invasive prenatal paternity test. They can do it with a blood draw from you and a cheek swab from me. You're far enough along. No problem. Her mouth opened. Then closed. That's not the point. It is the only point. I came here because I thought you were a good person. I am. Then why are you being so cold? Because 6 months ago, I walked into our bedroom and found you with my brother. You do not get warmth from me. You do not get trust. You do not get comfort. You get a DNA test. Her eyes flashed. Anger. Only for a second. Then sadness again. And what if I say no? Then you leave, and we never speak again. She stared at me. I could see her calculating. Tears were not working. Shame was not working. The victim story was not working. So she switched to bargaining. Can we at least talk inside like adults? No. Ethan. Iris, listen carefully. If the baby is mine, I will handle it legally. Child support. Custody. Whatever a lawyer tells me I have to handle. But you and I are nothing. We will never be anything again. And if the baby is not mine, you never contact me again. Not by phone. Not by email. Not at my door. She looked like I had slapped her. But I had not touched her. That was important. I reached into my wallet and pulled out a business card. A clinic downtown. Yes, I already had it. Because 3 weeks earlier, I heard through an old mutual friend that Iris was pregnant. Nobody said she would come to me, but I knew enough about Iris, Preston, and my family to understand that eventually, someone would try to make their disaster my responsibility. I held out the card. Call them. Schedule the test. Email me the appointment. Until then, do not come back here. She stared at the card like it was poison. Take it, I said, or leave. She snatched it from my hand. You're going to regret this. Maybe, I said. But I'll regret it on my terms. Then I closed the door. Locked it. Listened to her stand there for maybe 30 seconds. Then her footsteps faded down the hall. I went back to the couch. Picked up my drink. My hand was steady. That was how I knew I was different now. 6 months earlier, that conversation would have gutted me. I would have shaken. I would have begged for details. I would have asked why. Now I just opened my laptop and started documenting. I saved the doorbell camera footage. Backed it up to the cloud. Created a folder called Iris Pregnancy Claim. Cold name. Useful name. Then I researched lawyers. Paternity law. Documentation requirements. Harassment rules. Prenatal DNA testing. Chain of custody. Facts calm me down. Facts do not cry in hallways. Facts do not sleep with your brother and call it vulnerability. 30 minutes later, an email arrived. From Iris. Subject. Appointment scheduled. I opened it. The test was set for the following Tuesday at 10 a.m. Clinic address. Confirmation number. Professional. Efficient, but at the bottom of the email, something caught my eye. Most people do not look at email headers. I do. Logistics work teaches you that the truth is usually hidden in details people think are boring. There had been a CC line. Preston's old email address. It had been recalled almost immediately, but my email client cached it before the recall went through. I sat back and stared at the screen. They were coordinating. Iris and Preston. Maybe my family too. I did not know yet, but definitely those two. She had not shown up at my door because she was alone. She had shown up because they had a plan. And someone had made a mistake. I did not confront her. I did not text Preston. I did not send a screenshot asking what game they were playing. I saved the email. Saved the metadata. Printed a PDF copy. Backed it up in 3 different places. Then I started building a timeline. December 22nd. Discovered Iris and Preston together. December 25th, family defended Preston at Christmas. December 26th, cut contact. June 18th, Iris appeared at my apartment visibly pregnant, claimed child was mine. June 18th, email confirmation included recalled CC to Preston. June 25th, scheduled DNA test. People think revenge is emotional. Real revenge is administrative. The next week felt long. Not because I was scared. Because I was patient. And patience, when you are angry, is a full-time job. Tuesday came. I arrived at the clinic 15 minutes early. Iris was already there, sitting in the waiting room with both hands folded over her stomach like she was auditioning for a brochure about complicated motherhood. She looked up when I walked in. Hi. I nodded once and sat 3 chairs away. She tried small talk. How have you been? I opened my phone and answered a work email. Busy. Are you still at the same company? Yes. That's good. I did not answer. A technician called us back. She was professional and kind. Ask standard questions. Explain the non-invasive test. Blood draw from Iris. Cheek swab from me. Results by email within about a week. Iris answered everything softly. I provided my sample and confirmed my contact information. As we left, Iris tried again. Maybe we could get coffee? Just to talk about what happens next. What happens next? I said. Is we wait for results. If the test says I'm the father, my lawyer will contact you about arrangements. If it doesn't, you never contact me again. Your lawyer? Yes. It doesn't have to be like that. It does. She put a hand on my arm. I looked down at it. She removed it. I loved you, she whispered. I almost laughed. But I did not want to give her even that much. No. I said. You loved having me available. Then I walked to my car. The waiting was strange. I went to work. Went to the gym. Made dinner. Built half of a nightstand in my living room because apparently heartbreak had turned me into someone's suburban uncle. Every morning, I checked my email, nothing Monday, nothing Tuesday, nothing Wednesday. By Saturday, I had convinced myself results would come the next week. Then at 6:39 a.m., my phone buzzed. Clinic email. Subject, paternity test results. I sat up in bed. Opened it. Read the first line. Read it again. Then a third time. Probability of paternity. 0%. Not 10. Not 5. Not 1. 0. I set the phone down and stared at the wall. For a few seconds, I felt nothing. Then vindication arrived. Deep, clean, cold. I had known. The moment she showed up at my door, I knew. The recalled CC confirmed it. Her performance confirmed it. But now I had proof. Then came the rage. Not hot rage. Not the kind that makes people throw things. This was colder. Sharper. They had tried to trap me. That was what this was. Iris got pregnant. Preston was either the father or close enough to be terrified. Preston was useless. Iris was scared. My family had already proven they would protect him. So they looked around and found the most responsible man in the wreckage. Me. The one with the steady job. The one who used to fix things. The one who had spent years cleaning up Preston's messes. They thought I might do it again. Only this time, the mess had a heartbeat. I got out of bed. Made coffee. Opened my laptop. Created a new document. Not a rant. A plan. Column 1, who needs to know? Column 2, what do they need to see? Column 3, when do they receive it? My parents. My sisters. Preston. Iris. The family group chat I had muted but never left. Extended family who had sent me messages after Christmas about forgiveness and maturity. Whitney. Preston's girlfriend. Yes, Preston had a girlfriend. He had been dating Whitney for 8 months, which meant he had slept with my fiancée while dating her, then possibly got Iris pregnant while still with Whitney, then tried to let me take responsibility. Some men do not have a bottom. They just keep digging. I created a PDF. Clean. Professional. No screaming. No insults. No dramatic formatting. Page 1. DNA test results. Names redacted where appropriate. Probability of paternity. 0% highlighted. Page 2. Timeline. December 22nd. Discovered Iris and Preston together in my apartment. December 25th. Family defended Preston and pressured me to forgive him. December 26th. Cut contact. June 18th. Iris appeared at my door claiming I was the father of her unborn child. June 18th. Appointment email showed recalled CC to Preston. June 25th. DNA test performed. July 1st. Results received. Page 3. Screenshots. The appointment email. The recalled CC metadata. Doorbell image of Iris at my door. A short message from Iris confirming the appointment. Page 4. One paragraph. 6 months ago, I cut contact with this family after discovering Iris and Preston together in my home. Last week, Iris appeared at my door claiming I was the father of her unborn child. I requested a DNA test. The results are attached. This is the last time I will address this situation. Do not contact me. That was it. No curse words. No accusations beyond facts. Facts are harder to argue with. I opened a new email. Added every address. Attached the PDF. Subject line. For your information. My cursor hovered over send. 1 click. That was all it would take. 1 click and every bridge left standing would burn. I thought about my mother's Christmas table. My father asking me to talk like an adult. Lauren telling me I was crude. Megan saying I made Christmas about me. Preston sitting there with a beer in his hand like betrayal was just another family inconvenience. Iris crying in my hallway with another man's baby and my name in her mouth. I clicked send. Read receipts started lighting up within 2 minutes. 1, 3, 7, 12, 15. Like dominoes falling. The first response came from Megan. What the hell is this? Then Lauren. Are you serious right now? I did not respond. My phone rang. Mom. Decline. Dad. Decline. Unknown number. Decline. Preston. Decline. Then the family group chat exploded. I unmuted it just to watch. Is this real? Someone call him. This has to be fake. Oh my God. My mother wrote. Preston would never do this. My father replied. Everyone calm down. We need to talk about this as a family. That phrase again. As a family. I typed one message. There is no family. Not anymore. Then I muted the chat again. A minute later, an unknown number called. I almost ignored it. Then answered. Hello? A woman's voice. Shaking. Is this Ethan? Yes. This is Whitney. Preston's girlfriend. I closed my eyes. Is it real? She asked. Is Iris really pregnant with Preston's baby? The DNA test proves it is not mine, I said. You can draw your own conclusions. He told me it happened once, she whispered. He said it was a mistake. He said nothing happened after that. It was not once. Silence. Then she said, I'm so stupid. No. I said, you trusted someone you shouldn't have. That's not the same thing. Her breath caught. I'm sorry, she said. You have nothing to apologize for. I hung up before she could say more. Not because I blamed her. Because I did not have enough left in me to comfort Preston's collateral damage. My phone buzzed. Preston. Text. You piece of crap. You just ruined everything. I stared at it. Then typed. I ruined nothing. You did this. I just stopped letting you make it my problem. Sent. Blocked. More calls came. More texts. Cousins. Aunts. Uncles. People I had not heard from in years suddenly had opinions about my delivery method. Some were supportive, good for you. They had it coming. I never believed Preston's version. Most were not. This is cruel. He's still your brother. Family is supposed to forgive. You didn't have to humiliate everyone. That last one was funny. I did not humiliate anyone. I provided documentation. If the truth humiliates you, the problem is not the delivery method. Around noon, someone pounded on my apartment door. I checked the peephole. My parents. My mother looked like she had been crying. My father looked angry, which was his preferred emotion when shame was too complicated. I did not open the door. Ethan, my father said. Open the door. I turned up the TV. We need to talk. No, I said through the door. My mother's voice cracked. Honey, please. We didn't know. You knew enough. If we had known about the baby. You knew Preston slept with Iris. You knew I was betrayed. You chose him anyway. Leave. My father knocked harder. Open the damn door. I walked over, stood close enough that my voice carried clearly. You have 10 seconds before I call the police. Silence. Then my mother started crying harder. Ethan. Please. 10. No movement. 9. My father muttered something I could not hear. 8. Footsteps. They left before I got to 7. By midnight, I had more than 80 missed calls and over 150 texts. I did not answer any of them. But Whitney texted again. I broke up with him. He admitted Iris is probably pregnant with his child. He said he panicked because he wasn't ready to be a father, and you were always better at handling things. He actually said that. Like you were the backup plan. I'm sorry you had to be the one to expose it, but thank you. I read it twice. Did not respond, but I did not block her either. The next morning, something became very clear. I had burned every bridge. But I was still standing too close to the fire. My parents knew where I lived. Preston knew my routines. Iris knew my door, they knew my workplace. My grocery store. My gym. My city. I had cut them off emotionally, but geographically, I was still within reach. That had to change. 3 weeks earlier, my boss had sent me an email about a leadership opportunity in Denver. Relocation required. More money. More responsibility. Bigger team. At the time, I had ignored it. I was not ready to think about moving. Now I was. I opened the email and replied, I'd like to accept the Denver position. How soon can I start? My boss responded the next morning. We can have you out here in 2 weeks. Housing stipend starts immediately. HR will send paperwork today. Welcome to the team. 2 weeks. That was enough. I gave notice on my apartment, month-to-month lease. Easy. I went to the phone store. New number. New phone. New carrier. I gave the new number to exactly 5 entities. My boss. HR. My bank. My landlord. My insurance company. Everyone else could scream into the old number until the battery died. Then I packed. Not emotionally. Methodically. Family photos. Trash. Gifts from Iris. Donated. Coffee maker my mother bought me. Sold. Books Preston had borrowed and returned damaged. Trash. Anything tied to my old life either went into a box for donation or a garbage bag. I kept clothes, documents, laptop, tools, a few books I actually liked, and the crooked coffee table I built during month 3 because, ugly as it was, it belonged to the version of me that survived. The apartment looked empty by day 10. Mattress on the floor. 2 plates. 1 pan. TV on a folding table. I ate takeout on the floor my last night there and watched basketball on my laptop. No music. No nostalgia. Just me and the echo. I slept better than I had in months. Moving day was a Saturday. Everything I owned fit in my car. 2 suitcases. 1 box. Laptop bag. Tools. I locked the apartment. Dropped the keys in the landlord's mailbox. And got behind the wheel. Then my new phone buzzed. Unknown number. I should have ignored it. But something made me answer. Yeah? Son. My father. Somehow, he had gotten the number. I sat there with the engine running. Don't hang up. He said quickly. Please. I said nothing. Your mother is devastated. Preston is not doing well. Iris is threatening legal action against him. Whitney left him. The family is falling apart. Sounds accurate. Can we talk? Just once? You have 2 minutes. He took a breath. I know you're angry, and you have every right to be. But you have to understand, we were trying to keep the family together. No. Ethan. No. You were trying to make betrayal comfortable. He went quiet. You're not sorry you defended Preston. I said. You're sorry defending him made you look bad. You're not sorry you told me to forgive him. You're sorry I refused. You're not sorry I was hurt. You're sorry I stopped being useful. That's not fair. I laughed. Fair? I came home early and found my brother sleeping with my fiancée. That wasn't fair. I came to Christmas hoping my family would have my back and got blamed for ruining dinner. That wasn't fair. Iris showed up pregnant and tried to make me responsible for Preston's child. That wasn't fair. He did not respond. You chose him. I said. Every time. You chose him when he betrayed me. You chose him at Christmas. You chose him when you told me to be mature. You chose him because choosing me would have required admitting your favorite son is exactly who he is. He's still your brother. No, he is a man I used to be related to. My father's voice dropped. So that's it? You're just going to disappear? Yes. That's not who you are. You don't know who I am anymore. You haven't known for 6 months, and you're not going to find out. Please. Your mother. Lose this number. Don't look for me. Don't ask around. If anyone contacts me again, I'll treat it as harassment. Ethan. We're done. I hung up. Blocked the number. Turned off the phone. Put the car in drive. And left. The drive to Denver took 14 hours. I stopped twice for gas, once for coffee, and once outside Omaha because I was too tired to keep going. I slept in the car for 3 hours, woke up with a stiff neck, brushed my teeth in a gas station bathroom, and kept driving. Somewhere crossing into Colorado, I realized I was smiling. Not because I had won. Not because they were suffering. Because for the first time in 6 months, I was driving towards something instead of away from something. Denver was clean, busy, and new enough that nobody knew my history. At work, I was just Ethan from operations, the guy who showed up early, learned fast, and did not talk much about his personal life. Perfect. Corporate housing came with beige furniture and bad art. I loved it. No memories. No ghosts. No Iris sitting on the couch choosing wedding colors. No Preston laughing in my kitchen. No family photos on the fridge. Just empty space waiting to become mine. I found a climbing gym. Started going 3 times a week. Made a few work friends. Not close at first. Just normal. Surface level. Beer after work. Complaints about software. Arguments about the best breakfast burrito in town. Normal felt underrated. 2 months in, I went on my first date since Iris. Her name was Audrey. Civil engineer. Tall. Funny, no nonsense in a way that made me trust her more than charm ever could. We met at the climbing gym after she watched me fail the same route 3 times and said, "You know brute force isn't a personality, right?" I liked her immediately. Coffee became dinner. Dinner became hiking. By date 5, I told her the broad strokes. Caught my ex-fiancé cheating with my brother. Family defended him. Ex came back pregnant claiming the baby was mine. DNA tests said no. I moved here. She took a sip of her drink. That is a lot. Yeah. You handling it okay? Better now. She nodded. Good. That was it. No dramatic pity. No interrogation. No attempt to turn my trauma into a puzzle she could solve. Just acceptance. 6 months after moving to Denver, Audrey became my girlfriend. Officially. Slowly. Honestly. One night, lying in bed, she asked, "Do you ever regret cutting them off?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. Preston. Iris. My parents. Christmas dinner. The DNA result. My father's last call. No, I said. I regret believing their version of loyalty for so long. She kissed my shoulder and went to sleep. I stayed awake a little longer, staring at the ceiling. For the first time, thinking about them did not make my chest tighten. I felt nothing. Not rage, not sadness, not satisfaction. Indifference. Real indifference. The kind you cannot fake. The kind that arrives only after you stop needing people to understand what they did. I do not know what happened to Preston after that. I heard once through Whitney, months later, that the paternity test confirmed he was the father. 99 point something. He lost his job. Moved back in with my parents. Iris went after him for child support. Whitney never took him back. Good for her. My mother sent one email before I changed that address too. Subject line. Please. I deleted it unread. Maybe that sounds cruel. Maybe it is. But cruelty is not always loud. Sometimes cruelty is asking a betrayed man to sit at Christmas dinner beside the brother who destroyed his life. Sometimes cruelty is telling him he is ruining the holidays by being hurt. Sometimes cruelty is showing up pregnant and hoping he is still broken enough to be useful. Me? I just stopped answering. There is a difference. People love to say family is everything. I disagree. Loyalty is everything. Respect is everything. Accountability is everything. Family without those things is just a group of people who know your childhood nickname and use it when they want something. They wanted me to be the bigger person. What they meant was they wanted me to be quiet while smaller people escaped consequences. The DNA test did not just prove the baby was not mine. It proved my instincts were right. It proved the version of me who walked out on Christmas Day had not been cruel. He had been early. Early to the truth. Early to the exit. Early to a life where nobody got to make their betrayal my responsibility. I built that life. A new city. A new job. A new number. A woman who tells the truth. Friends who know me as I am now, not as the role I used to play. Sometimes I still think about the moment Iris stood at my door with her hand on her stomach. Not because I miss her, not because I wonder what could have been, but because that was the final test. The universe, or fate, or whatever name people give to chaos, gave me one last chance to become the old Ethan again. The fixer. The responsible one. The man who cleaned up everyone else's wreckage and called it love. I passed. I said, prove it. And when the proof came back, I let it speak louder than I ever could. They wanted reconciliation. I gave them consequences. They wanted me to raise Preston's child. I gave them a PDF. They wanted family. I gave them silence. And I have never looked back.